Thanks to our great sponsors, Jack Burford Chevrolet in Richmond, Jerry Goebel and State Farm Insurance, Richmond, Express Roofing, we've got you covered, expressroofing.net, Cumberland Valley National Bank in Richmond and Berea, Luxury Pet Services in Richmond, Time Warner Cable, Equipment Sales and Rentals, Madison County Schools, Tatum Enterprises, and Real Life Community Church, myrealchurch.org. We want to be sure and thank our fine sponsors, Berea Online, First Gear, WKYT.com, and the Colonel Sports Card Shop. A shout out to another great sponsor, Journey Auto and Boat Sales in Richmond. And welcome to another great sponsor, Kentucky Farm Bureau Insurance, Chris Hornsby in Highland Park.
Welcome to the Coach John Clark Show.
Run!
Hi, I'm Samantha Burford with Madison County School Sports Television. We want you to watch the head coach John Clark Show of Madison Southern Eagles.
If you want to learn about these guys, tune in to Madison County School Sports Television.
Let's go!
It's the John Clark Show from Cumberland Valley National Bank in Berea.
Welcome back to the Coach John Clark Show. I'm Samantha Burford, here of course with head coach John Clark of the Madison Southern Eagles football team. And we're at Cumberland Valley National Bank, just down the street, literally down the street from their football stadium. Usually, Coach, you're coming out of practice to come to our show, but not tonight.
Not tonight.
This is our final show, our wrap-up postseason show. You guys finished the season 5-6. Doesn't sound too good when you say it like that, but man, it was a great season.
It really was. 5-6 is how we finished, but we started 1-4. So if you look at that 1-4 start, and then we start districts. So since districts, we've gone 4-2.
Yeah.
So
which is the way it's supposed to be.
It's the tale of two seasons with us, and we knew that coming in. We talked about it on the show a lot. We knew going in, we scheduled tough for a reason. You now see why you guys witnessed the Cove Catholic train the other night, and they lost to Highlands by 4 earlier in the year. So you now see why we scheduled the way we scheduled, why we did things the way we did, and now we improved drastically as a team as the year went on.
And we could talk about that game, however much you want to talk about it. Second round playoff game.
Sure.
The score was definitely not indicative of how that game
Well, it was
went.
14-7 going into the fourth quarter.
Right.
Start of the fourth quarter, scores 14-7. Now, I will say this. Some people would say that the game wasn't as close as it sounded because offensively we really struggled. We felt like at any given time, I mean, we had opportunities.
Yes.
Our team played really well. We played our best defensive game of the year. Special teams continued to do what our special teams does.
Scored.
95-yard kickoff return for a touchdown.
Yeah.
I would argue tooth and nail with anybody that said otherwise, but I think we were one of the best special teams, football teams, regardless of class, in the state of Kentucky this year. And we're compiling all our stats from the season right now, but I think we had 8 or 9 kickoff returns for touchdowns. Several, I think 5 of those were 85 yards plus. We recovered in the ballpark of 7 to 9 onside kicks. Now, we had a couple of kickoff returns called back for blocking the backs or something of that nature.
Yes, that was the game before.
We had a couple of those this year. We recovered 3 or 4 onside kicks that I'm not even including that we were called off sides on. We blocked 3 punts in the last 5 games of the season. We faked 3 or 4 punts this year, and we're able to capitalize on that. I think we averaged about 45 yards on punt. I mean, we just did some really good things in special teams. And again, I can't say that. Ben Colbert. I mean, he.
We talk about him every week.
Well, he has done an amazing
deserved
job. He really has. I tell everybody when I talk about our team, I feel like we're becoming a special teams oriented football program, and a lot of it has to do with the pride that he's implemented in that program. With our special teams, he runs it just like a coordinator runs offense and defense, and we work it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, all summer long. When everybody else is is doing all their other football stuff. We're working special team circuits. I mean, it was spring balls when it started, and it showed.
That was exactly what I was going to say. You can tell. Compared to watching all the other teams, watching their special teams, it was unbelievable.
You know, and we weren't very good at it the last 4 years. You know, I'm not going to sit here and act like it's been building for 5. We weren't very good at it. But that was on me because it was my choice to focus on the offense and defensive sides of the ball, because where the program started, we had a lot of work to do to get to where we were on offense and defense, and just made the choice. We had some pretty dynamic players. We thought we want to score as many points as we can, and special teams was an afterthought. Well, now moving forward, I feel like the program has a better baseline than it did before of where we were 5 years ago.
Yes.
You know, it was 3 wins in 4 years. You know, now we're sitting here, I think we're 29-17, 28-18, somewhere in that ballpark over the last 4 years. It's a big difference.
It is
You know,
a
the last
big
4
difference.
seasons, I didn't notice all this until somebody brought it to my attention. In the last 4 years, we're 4-4 in the playoffs. We played 8 playoff games in 4 years. And that's the winningest, most playoff
In school history.
saturated 4-year span, not even close.
Right.
In the school's history. Absolutely it is.
Well, when we talk about history, we have to talk about the district win.
Yeah, first district win in 27 years. This was only the 5th time we'd ever played to the second round. 3 of those 5 times have come in the last 4 years. So that was our first home playoff loss. And it was a very good team. I think
Yeah.
people get surprised. They look at schedules too much, and people looked at their 4-7 schedule. And we're like, wow, they're not any good.
They brought some fans with them, too.
Well,
Their
I told them,
fans were
they
packed.
played like St. X. If you know anything about high school football, St. X is a top 30 program
Every
in the
year.
nation.
Every year.
They played Sycamore out of Ohio. They played Scott County, who they were in a close game at the half with. They play Highlands. I mean, those 4 teams just right there alone are legit teams. And they played somebody else out of Cincinnati. It might have been Moeller or something of that nature. But, I mean, their schedule is ridiculous. I mean, yes, they play a tougher schedule than we do. I mean, they play a ridiculous schedule.
Well,
good football team.
And it shows.
Absolutely.
I mean, same as you guys.
I thought our team played really well. First half, our defense just played amazing. Their tackles were 6'6", 255. Our DN, one of them's 5'10", 180. One of them's 6 foot, 210. I mean, we're just really undersized to them. I thought
They
our
even
kids
look
played
big when you're standing up. When
Yeah,
you're up in the press
it's-
box, most teams y'all kind of look the same. These guys look
Yeah,
big.
and Catholic schools, private schools, a whole different animal when it comes to athletics. I mean, you can look at all sports. I mean, I think they win the soccer state tournament in soccer?
That I don't
Cub
know.
Cath, I think they did. Or,
I don't
you
know.
look at Lexington Catholic.
Once you
look
guys
at-
were out of it, I
You
don't
start getting into private schools, it's a whole different ballgame. We didn't
Yeah.
have to sit here and talk about all the reasons why. Everybody knows that. So it's going to be very difficult for any school to compete with that level. And I'm not going to sit here and make excuses. They're in our region.
Mm-hmm.
We've got to beat them. So that's our goal. We got to beat Cub Cath. We got to beat Highlands. We have to play and train and prepare differently. We're a school that 5 years ago was a 2-win football team.
Yeah.
And
the possibility of getting
before
the
that-
second round of playoffs.
Yeah, before that
was-
one was 3-37 in 4 years. But now the reality of it is none of that matters anymore. If we want to get to that level, we have to be willing to do what it takes to get to that level. It's going to be hard, but I think there's enough coaching and knowledge on our football staff to get it done. There's enough preparation with the way we do our workout programs. The question is, are the kids willing to continue to do the work year in and year out? I know this group was. Will next year's group be? Will the group after that be? Will the middle school kids be? Will the kids that are in the youth league now be willing to put in what it takes over time? Will the middle school programs get on the same page with everything? Because all those things have to take place if we're going to compete with those programs. Mm-hmm. But we can. It's a matter of how bad does this place want to make it? Mm-hmm. And there's no question that the football here can be done. The community-ness of the program needs to change still. Mm-hmm. It's got to improve. It's better than it was. But, we might have had the most empty stands of a second-round playoff game, I bet, in the state.
It was.
And that's frustrating. I wish I could find a way to get people to come to the games and support the kids more and to see what's out there, because we left the field, and I have Cub Catholic people coming to me and saying, we didn't expect you guys to be as good as you were. You guys are pretty good, you know. And
That's good to hear,
they thought that, you know, we thought we were going to walk over you. This was a competitive game.
Yeah.
I want our fans in this community. I want people in the stands to see
Yeah.
what's going on, and there's some that do. There's a lot.
They were
that
there.
don't.
The weather was rough, but I
There's a
mean,
lot
there
that
was
don't.
a few there, but it
So-
wasn't packed like your regular season.
But that takes time, you know. Research and history says it takes a minimum of 10 years to really change culture. You know, I'm from from a small town, Danville, Indiana. Danville, Indiana was population like 1,500, maybe 2,000 when I was coming out of there, just west of Indianapolis. My graduating class had 130 people in it. All right, we were a small school. But every year of my 4 years in high school, we ranked in the top 5 in the state. My senior year, we ranked number 1. I think we lost 4 games in 3 years during my varsity span. But here's the deal. That happened over 10 and 15 years.
Yeah.
But here's what happened on Friday nights in the playoffs. You couldn't go anywhere in town because everything shut down. The windows of all the businesses were painted.
The
Go
team
Warriors,
colors
win sectionals, go Warriors. Everybody was at the game. You know, pep rallies every Friday. It was a whole different environment. And I'd love to see that happen here. I really think we can become a program that people could rally around behind that. But everybody's got to be willing to I feel like a lot of people are standing at the edge of the cliff, kind of looking down and seeing what's going on down there.
Wait to see
You know,
what's
like
happening.
I feel like a lot of people are like, you know, I call them, with our players, I call them toe dippers. You know, the guys that, you all know who I'm talking about, the toe dipper. How cold's the water? I got to touch it and just feel.
Yeah.
You know, I want
Sample it.
I want players that are going to run and jump in, and we're not worried about the temperature of the water. And we've kind of gotten to that point. I feel like there's a lot of people around the program that are still toe dipping. You know, I'm not real sure. We're hoping to get to the point where everybody's all in all the time, and that I think that'll come. And listen, that's my goal. That's what I want. That's what I don't sleep at night because I think about that. You know, you look at all the top programs around the state, around the nation. How did they get to be top programs?
Right.
Well, they didn't just all of a sudden
Happen
be
overnight.
a top program.
Like, okay, we're gonna do
Somebody
it,
took
wish
the
for it.
time to put in the time to make it that way.
And not just one person.
And it wasn't one person.
Right.
It's supportive administration, which I have, which our school has. It's a great principal. It's good coaching staff. It's kids that are willing to work. Well, you're saying all these things that it is, and that's stuff that we have here. It's facilities. You've got to have places to train your numbers. Well, that's coming. We have a 3,000 square foot weight room facility that's about to be finished here in a month or two, which
I can't wait because we're going to do a show in the weight room, right?
It's exciting,
Let's
absolutely. You
In
guys
the
will be
locker
shocked
rooms.
by that place. But there's so many good things. It's players going off to play college ball. They all stay in touch. You guys coming back.
They do
It's
come
you
back.
guys coming back when you're done and you move back to Berea and coaching with us. And then their kids
that will
playing in the
happen.
program. And that's what builds that over time. It doesn't just happen overnight.
Right.
And that's not everywhere. There's some places where it happens because it's a Navy base nearby and kids move in and out with their families and good talent shows up. And but in a community,
Athletic families.
but in a community like this to sustain itself, it has to become a culture. And it's slowly becoming that way.
Yeah.
It just is going to take time. There's going to be highs, there's going to be lows. You know, a lot of people thought we were going to be garbage this year. You know, at the beginning of the year, our kids are walking the hallways and students are telling them, you guys are going to get killed this week. You guys are stink now that Damien's gone. And
We heard that as
well, and I heard
as
that
news
as the
people.
coach. And here we win our first district title ever. And then you have people saying, well, your district's down, that's why. Well, Montgomery County goes to North Laurel, who's undefeated, and beats them over the head. You know, but our district's down. You know, we played Cove Catholic, it was 14-7 going into the fourth quarter, but our district's down. You know, so earlier in the year, Anderson beat South Oldham, who South Oldham, they might still be playing. I'm not sure if they won last week or not. But our district's not down. It's just everybody tries to find reasons when a program historically has not been very good. People question success.
Yeah.
And there's people out there that don't like success. And some of it may be because of me, but it's not my success. That's the thing that people need to understand is it's the teams and the programs and the schools and the communities. And so the more everybody rallies around that, be a bandwagon. Get on the Madison Southern bandwagon. There are still seats open, and that's okay because everybody's allowed to do that when a place has not been successful before. You're allowed to all of a sudden like your school in sports when your school starts to get better.
Right.
And that's how you build tradition, and then you build school pride. And school pride is better. I think it's better at our school now than it's been since I've been here. It really is.
Well, you guys have some fantastic coaches. I mean,
and we
throughout
do.
the school.
We've got an unbelievable staff. We have great staff of coaches in other sports.
Right. We're getting ready to start basketball season with Coach Buttrey.
Absolutely. And Summer Simmons is as good of a girls basketball coach as you're going to find.
Her.
Look at what she's done with her
Yes.
program, and there's a good relationship with our coaches in our building. We're not fighting over kids. We're talking about kids. We're communicating about kids.
Right, because you guys, I'm sure, have a lot of kids getting ready to move into basketball.
Right now, our baseball program has not
yeah.
been very good. Coach Combs is a Hall of Fame coach. He's fixing that. And I think it's awesome. And we're all behind him 100%. And anything we can do to help that, we want to do that. We're all on the same page. I feel like our staffs are starting to become more like this. And that's rare in a high school, especially a high school of this size. That's a rare thing. Ben Colbert, our special teams coordinator, you've seen what he does on the field. Well, he's the new head track coach. What do you think?
I didn't know
what do
that.
you think our track program is going to look like when you look at what our special teams did?
Yeah.
Our track team will be outstanding this year.
I think so, too.
And he's wanting all of us to be his assistants. And we love each other as coaches, so what are we going to do?
You're going to do it for him.
And then all our players are going to want to be a part of it. And so our
That's what he's hoping.
our track numbers are going to grow. Coach Bertrand does a great job with our wrestling team. His numbers are growing. They're going to be upwards of 20 wrestlers this year. It's a new program. Well, we know he's a good coach. We support what he does 110%. We're pushing football guys to go wrestle because it's going to make them better football players,
Right.
make them tougher.
Well, I think we're going to shoot some footage of the Central Southern
And so I think
wrestling
we have a lot of kids that are starting to wrestle here. And we've got some kids, I know weight room wise and athletically, that could be great wrestlers. So, bottom line is, and all that's part of just developing the entire athletic department. The next step is there's some things we need to do to address the physical fitness stuff, to address the strength and conditioning as a whole across all sports. That's a hard area to breach. It's not a priority for schools, public at all in Kentucky. It's just not. You go up to Indianapolis, where I was at Warren Central, where we won the state championship. The MIC conference up there. Every school up there has a certified strength and conditioning coach on staff that works with all sports.
And they all have to take a swimming class.
And they take swimming, there's just there's some things that need to continue to grow. But I feel like we have the right administration in place to let those things happen, and people have to be willing to be open to new things.
That's sometimes challenging.
It was challenging when I first got here. I ran into a lot of people saying, "Who's this guy? He's not from here. He's never, what's he doing all this stuff different for?" Well, because when you get out of a place sometimes, you realize there's some pretty good ways things are done other places. I didn't invent the wheel, but if it rolls, I'm going to use it. And that's things that just need to continue to grow. And Southern's a great place for that. Since last week, I've probably been asked 3 times if I'm going to leave again this year.
Well, let's just put it out there.
Well,
Are you going to leave?
It's a common question.
Right. Where would you go if you did?
We're going to have a 3,000 square foot.
Why would you?
We're going to have a 3,000 square foot weight room facility, and I felt like we've been very handcuffed with the way we've been able to train kids because of space.
Yes.
Now with this facility, what we know we're going to be able to do is going to change our program even more. And it's going to take time. It's going to happen in the younger age groups. They'll see the benefits of how we're going to be able to train differently. But
you hate that for the kids, that are leaving this year, that are the seniors, because they're
but I tell you what, they maximized everything that we could.
Yeah.
It's not their fault that they were confined on weight room space.
No.
When you look at it, say they don't get two sets done, or we have to back the workouts off 2 or 3 sets, all right, because there's not enough time to get it all done within a certain time frame. You can't work kids out for 3 hours straight. You just can't do it, okay? If you do that, you're going to lose them.
Yeah.
All right, so within our time constraints, we had to back off some stuff. Well, you do that over say you train 4 days a week. Well, if you train 200 days a year, all right, if you're doing 4 days a week, 200 days a year, how many workouts is that?
That's a lot. I'm not good at math.
If you're doing 200 workouts a year, 200 to 300 workouts a year, which is what kids are getting into nowadays.
That's almost one every
If you
day.
cut back
except the weekends.
If you cut back 2 exercises, a workout, that they don't even know they're not getting,
Right.
that they need, well, that's 400 sets of exercises a year that they're not getting, that Cov-Cath gets.
Okay, now I see where you're going with
You see my
this.
point?
Okay, yes.
So that's 1 year.
I was
Over
trying to
4
follow
years.
you.
So here's my point. If there's 400 sets they don't get, all right, sets of in the weight room or sets of running or something.
Because you don't have enough
because
equipment.
there's not enough space and room to do it all within the
Exactly.
time constraints
Right,
we have.
right.
All right, and people that
And you don't want to
design
make them
workout
hurry.
understand
You don't
that.
want to rush weight training.
well, we do have to rush it, but you've got to be safe, and there's only so
Exactly,
many
and
kids
you don't
that
wanna
can work.
use
And you've
momentum.
got to spend time doing football, and you've got academics, and they've got to have lives, and they work jobs. I mean, you can't just have 4-hour workouts. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
So
You'd have nobody. on
if
the team.
you miss 400 sets a year over 4 years,
That's a lot.
yeah, now you're getting into you're missing over 1,000 sets in a 4-year
And
span.
that's where your bigger programs
And now
are getting those in.
Teams like Highlands, your Cov-Caths,
Covington Catholic,
your
St.
schools,
X.
it's different. I'll tell you what a big difference was in our game Friday night. And our staff, first thing we talked about, we came in the locker room afterwards, sit down, and I couldn't have been prouder of our team. I tell our kids this all the time, and I mean this. If we lose and we play well and it's a good opponent, the better team won. And one thing I've learned in my life is I will absolutely shake the hand of somebody who does it the right way. And they beat us on Friday. And I could shake their hand and say, you guys beat us. And we gave you a good game. We gave them a good game.
Yes.
We played well. We play a lot of the games on our schedule we lost to like we did Friday night, we win. And that's just period. We played a good football game. But the difference was they have kids that train on one side of the ball for 4 years straight. We have a lot of kids
That
that
play
play both ways. And the way our staff's set up, like most high schools in Kentucky, Monday is a day of offense, defense, special teams. Tuesday for us is offensive emphasis, special teams, some defense. Wednesday is defensive emphasis, special teams, some offense. And then Thursday you kind of recap it all. That's what we do. Now, if we had 2 separate teams, defense goes at that end of the field. Offense goes to that end of the field. You come together, you scrimmage, you come together for special teams. They practice 4 days a week on that side of the ball, 4 days a week on this side of the ball, and you play on Fridays. You do that for 4 years, you're a different animal. And that's what we played Friday. And it was obvious. It stood out drastically. Their defensive line was
Incredible.
outstanding. They were
Yes.
outstanding. And this is the
Yes.
best offensive line as a whole we've ever had
Ever
since
played.
I've been here.
Yeah.
Since I've been here, it's the best unit across the front we've had. From the best guy to the weakest guy, it's been the strongest group as a whole. And, when you're telling your guys, we talked at halftime, and there were some things that were there. We just had to find a way to get into them. And we ran some things, we're like, it's there, and then it's gone because we're losing the one-on-one battle. And primarily offensively, I'm talking. And then we go into halftime and we tell them we got to win some of these one-on-one battles. And they knew. We go in the second half. When you have guys coming off the field in the second half and they look at you and they go, Coach, I know that's my guy. I'm doing everything I can. I don't know what else to do. And I'm out of suggestions. You can't
As a
cut him.
coach.
You can't stay up. You can't. He's just really good. He's a little better than us. And not every play, but most of the plays. Our kids didn't get beat on every single one-on-one battle.
No, they
But we
didn't.
lost the majority. They won more than we won on their D-line and our O-line, and that was the difference in the game.
But we have to give credit to your defense.
Our defense
How
played
many
outstanding.
times did
Yeah.
what was it, 3 or 4 times they
played
stopped the ball
outstanding.
within the 5-yard
Our
line?
defense played outstanding. They forced turnovers.
Yes.
And I mean, you saw how big their
What,
O-line
2
was. We were
interceptions?
drastically outmatched up front, and we played hard. We played low. We played well. We did the things we had to do defensively to put ourselves in a position to win the game.
And it would seem like you would get the momentum,
And then we just couldn't.
and then it wouldn't
we
capitalize.
couldn't. And then they were well coached. We'd hit something and find success on something on
Yeah.
offense. We hit a couple runs up the middle, had some good gains. And then they'd make an adjustment to their scheme, and then we know we'd lose that, but the other thing we want is that we're running that, but we're not winning the one-on-one battle now. So it's just, it was tough. I mean, and as a coach, you want to call something better that's going to give your kids a better chance, but everything is there you're calling, and we just couldn't get into it.
Your thoughts on, you told us last week you were going to run the heck out of the option, and then you also told us you were going to switch out quarterbacks more than usual.
And
Your
we did.
thoughts on that? I
We
know
did.
you did. But
The option stuff was there. and looking back on film, it was there. There's times where we popped a couple big runs. Some of our 10, 15-yard runs came on option plays.
Yes.
But at the same time, there's times where it's there, and then he makes the right read, and it's gone again because they're winning one-on-one battles. Yeah, it's just we couldn't sustain a block here, or something of that nature. And it is what it is.
It is what it is.
We knew we had to throw the ball. We would have liked to have thrown the ball a little more, but we had no time to throw.
Yeah.
We just couldn't pass protect on them, and that was frustrating. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
Completely
different inning.
But early in the game, we dropped the ball. We had some opportunities with some things that we didn't capitalize on offense too. And then by the end of the game, we were pretty beat up by the end of the game.
Yeah.
Because guys were playing so hard against a better opponent, and by the end of the game, we were pretty dinged up.
They probably slept all day Saturday.
I don't know.
It was mentally, not only physically tough, that was a mentally tough game for them.
Yeah, but I tell you what, of the way this team has been, I couldn't be prouder of the way they finished. Mm-hmm. If we couldn't finish with a win, and only one team in 5A will finish
they
their
never
season
stopped.
with a win. If
They
we can't
rallied.
finish with a win, I wanted them to finish exhausted and left it on the field with no regrets.
And I think
that's
they
the way
did.
our team was. I asked them after the game, I asked a lot of our seniors, do you have any regrets? I said, no, I played the hardest I've ever played in my life.
And they were sad hanging up those jerseys too. They were on Twitter, super proud of those jerseys, and I can't believe this is going to be the last time I'm going to wear this jersey.
It's pretty awesome.
It is awesome.
It's great to see young men, young people in general, figure out what it is to be a part of something bigger than themselves. Mm-hmm. And then when they have to let that go, to understand what it really meant. And, as humans, we're all that way. A lot of times we don't know what we have till it's gone. Mm-hmm. A lot of them look there and go, wow, we took equipment up on Tuesday.
You did.
And
that's hard.
Every year I always do an exit interview.
Okay.
I do a kind of a packet I give to them, and they answer questions, and they don't put their name on it, and I want them to be completely honest with everything.
I think we've talked about this. Yes, I
They
remember.
rate the way we do things. I ask them questions about our leadership program, our self-discovery, self-development stuff. What do you like? What do you not like? We ask them, who's the most positive coach on staff? Why? We ask questions about coaching.
Are they picking you?
They grade their coach. We ask for a grade, A, B, C, D, F.
Okay.
Why do you give your coach this grade? But they don't name the coach because I don't want it to be specifically figuring out who it is.
Which kid it is.
So we ask who they think the best leaders were and why, who they think were issues, what was good, what they didn't like. In doing that,
I'm laughing because I can only imagine some of the answers.
Oh, we've read some interesting things now.
I'd love to read them.
We've read some interesting things. But, you can figure out when you're reading a paper which ones got it. Mm-hmm. I'm sitting there at my desk yesterday, the coaches were looking at something, and I'm reading through this sheet, and I flip it over, and I'm reading the back, and I sit this down, and I'm like, I don't know who this is, but he gets it. Mm-hmm. He gets it.
Yeah.
He understands
Proud
what this
moment.
was all about. And then you have ones that won't ever figure out the bigger picture of it. But that's the way life is.
Yeah, that's okay.
And some of them won't until they leave in a couple years from now. Mm-hmm. But the ones that do, we have a lot of them who, what do you want the future team goals to be?
That's a good question.
All those things. One of those was, what direction do you want the program to go when you leave?
Right, especially for seniors is who I'm
Absolutely.
thinking. When you leave, what do you want?
Absolutely. What do you want the goals of this program to be? What do you want to see accomplished? And it's great because you see kids will say, hey, I want to win regions. We need to win regions. We need to keep winning district. We need to play for a state championship. But you see so much of continue the bond within the team. The brotherhood expanded to the players that are not here versus the ones that are, to build a football community that a networking system with the players that have left. And now we're gonna do that. Today I ran into just in the office. We had a young man, Casey Allen, played for us our first year here. Casey graduated and went off to the Navy. He's back now. He's in there and he's talking about going in the police force. I just ran into him in the office. He was in there picking up a sibling. And so I took his number, and we have 2 coaches that are on the police force, and I'm going to put him in touch with them, and that's what we're supposed to do.
Yes.
If he wants to do that, we're going to help him do that. That's what this is about. That's what builds the program, not just you played, you're done.
Yeah.
And those things are important to us. We have a lot of guys that get it, though, right now.
I'm sure that you want to see your numbers continue to improve as far as growing the team.
Well, yeah, that's a good question. Not necessarily.
Okay.
You know, you can get to a point where the coaches we have, the space we can have too many kids, and it becomes inefficient. I really like where we are.
Okay.
You know, we're hanging out. I think we had 31 kids that varsityed this year. I was looking at that this morning. I think it was 31 or 32 varsity letters will be handed out. We dressed, I think, 55 for varsity in JV games. Varsity JV was 55 total. Freshmen were around 30 consistently, so we're sitting around 85. Pushing those numbers up to 100, you got to be careful, because if it's 15 more kids that love football and take the game serious and really want to play and want to better the program,
that's a bonus.
That's great. But if it's 15 hanger-oners that aren't going to work hard and they're going to bring down your locker room and your work ethic
And you're going to spend a lot of time
time,
up
money,
with them.
everything, and I'm babysitting them, then I
Yeah.
don't want them on the I don't want them there.
I get that.
My high school coach used to call them jersey hangers. He used to tell us all the time, don't be a jersey hanger. You know, but I'm good with where we are right now, because I feel like we're maximizing the talent. You know, and are there a few kids in our building that I wish were playing? A couple? Sure. But there's not a lot. I feel like we're getting out the majority of what can help us on Friday night right now.
But don't you think with the new weight room and everything, you're going to get some new kids?
Probably.
Yeah.
The new weight room doesn't make you stronger, though. The way
No,
you lift
you gotta
in it.
use 'em.
The way you lift in it's what makes you better at it.
Like you today,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, but it's right. No, but it's important that the kids understand too, though, and we've run into this. There's a lot of kids that like to work out, but we're not a workout team. We're a football team. You can love to work out, but you got to be willing to play football and put on pads and put your face on somebody. And that's, some of them realize real quick. Every winter we have workout warriors that when we start spring ball a couple days in say, this isn't really for
I'm
me.
out.
And that's okay, because some of them decide to stay. You know, we had a young man, Christian Jaramello, stuck with the team, came with us in winter workouts. I'd never seen the kid before in my life in the building. Never played football down in his life. Never heard 2 words out of him. Makes it all the way through spring ball. I mean, we got to teach him the rules in spring ball.
Right.
He has improved so much from spring ball to now. This young man, if he sticks with it, he's going to help us.
Okay. What year is he going to be next year?
I think he's going to be a junior.
He will be a junior. Okay.
But he is.
So he didn't play middle school football or anything?
I never played. I mean, he's and
taught
then
him X's
and then
and
he's
O's.
playing JV by middle of the year, and he's making a difference. He's getting in the backfield on D line. He's doing some things, and love the kid.
Yeah.
You know, every
like,
week
"Why
you
haven't
saw
you been doing this?"
every week you saw his quizzes get a little better. His football IQ is getting a little higher, and we'll work with that kid. We'll work with kids like that any day. But he's going to help us. He's going to play.
That's
he
the kind of
wants
kid
to
you
get
wanna
on the
be there.
field. He doesn't just want to be on the team. You know, and that's we need those kind of kids.
Overall, this year, my word of the week is going to be successful.
Very, very.
I can't imagine any other word or any parent, anybody saying anything other than that. Yes, you lost the last game. It happens. But to have such a successful year has been...
It was a great season, and, you know, I love the fact that our boys can look at it, and, you know, nobody in our building talks about our record. Nobody cares about our record.
Right.
Because everybody
It just
knew,
doesn't seem right.
Well, everybody knew going in, we're not doing what we're doing to go 10-0.
Yeah.
It's never been a goal of ours
Yeah.
since we've been here.
I had to look it up because I was like, that doesn't seem right. Is that really right?
I know, and it's like we looked at Cub Catholics. It doesn't seem right when you see that team play that they'd be 5-7, I think now.
I think they are, yeah.
You know, and with us, we're 5-6, but you know, a record. You know, you can't always judge a book by its cover.
That's right.
You know, you
It's
gotta
been a fun year and a fun team to watch.
It's been an exciting team. We've had great leadership.
Yeah.
We've had a good unity. I think 17 seniors varsity. I think we had 8 or 9 juniors varsity, and then I think we had 5 sophomores varsity this year.
Well, sometimes throughout the season you bring coaches into the show or you bring some players. You didn't do that this year.
Everybody was too busy working,
Okay.
so they were all preparing.
All right.
No, honestly.
You made it all about you and me.
No.
I should say you. I just asked the question.
Honestly, the show now is just comes so quick. I don't even like think about it until it's time for me to go run
Till
the
I'm
show.
texting you going,
Yeah.
hey, the show's
I
tomorrow.
don't even think about it because we're just so like this with what
Yeah.
we're doing. But
And you're focused on the next opponent.
absolutely. But
So what will you do now? What will you do? You get your football banquet coming up.
banquet's coming up December 6th.
Okay.
We're going to do the banquet December 6th. Coaches meet this week. We'll discuss. I know a lot of coaches do a lot of different things. Have we ever talked about how we do awards?
No.
Okay. A lot of coaches. I know a lot of coaches give like one award, or don't give awards because it's a team sport. Well, I think that's ridiculous. We give a ton of awards.
Oh, actually, I think we have.
We give a
talked
ton
about
of
it
them.
Probably
And
a year ago.
some people
but
think it's crazy,
remind
but I
us.
love it because
Yeah.
you've always
You
got
do.
that. You've always got that kid that like. What do you do with this kid that like? He's a huge part of your program, and you need another one of him moving forward. You need that work hard kid that doesn't play very much, but pushes everybody to the limit during the workouts, and has a great attitude and is a good representative of
And
your
that's his
program
role
in the
on the
building.
team.
Yeah, that kid's as important as the kid that rushes for 1,000 yards. In a way of the team dynamic, that kid is just as important. So you never recognize him. So we do a ton of awards. We do a 110% award, best practice award, relentless award for whoever just is the most relentless on the field and in practice. We do an offensive MVP, a defensive MVP, a special teams MVP, an overall MVP. We do them for JV and freshmen.
Oh,
Absolutely.
Okay.
Peyton Skidmore was an offensive MVP as a freshman and as a JV player.
Huh.
Dawson Richardson, defensive MVP as a freshman and on JV.
yeah.
And look at what those two kids became. It's a great way what a cool way to see them progress from they were great players as freshmen and they stayed the course. They
Yeah.
continued to improve as everybody else did as well. So I think it's neat to do that. We give awards for the freshmen that most has gained the respect of his teammates through hard work, the varsity guys, through hard work, dedication. I mean, we give some pretty cool awards.
Yeah.
I love our award process.
That's good.
It's
Who makes the decisions? You guys, all the coaches together?
we do ask in the survey. I take the kids' input on some of it.
Oh, okay.
We do a CTR award, a virtue award, it's choose the right, and we really rely on the kids heavily for that. Who do you feel is your most virtuous teammate? We do one for freshmen and then the older guys, because for us as coaches, we know who we think is the most virtuous, but they're the ones that are around them all the time. They know who acts
In
a certain
class and
way
everywhere.
when
Yeah.
we're not around. So what the kids put down on that is usually who. I mean,
So you
that's who
had them
gets
vote.
the award. But there's.
You say usually.
Well,
Not
no, it has
always.
been. I was trying to think if I could say
Okay,
that.
if you've
I didn't want to put
changed
myself in a
their
corner.
vote.
No, but that's been the case.
I caught that.
That award has been that case
Okay.
since we've been here.
Right.
That's neat. I mean, it's cool that your team votes on who's the most virtuous person amongst us.
Exactly.
What a cool award. That's a big one,
Yeah,
So
well, and they are the ones around them the most.
absolutely,
all
they
day
know
long.
they know who does
Not just
what
during practice.
behind the curtain, So yeah, we do a ton of awards, and last year at this time after last season it was stressful doing the banquet, but we've already started. I love it. I think it's fun. It's been fun this year.
So now that the season's over,
We'll
you
do the banquet.
You do the banquet.
Guys are still
You'll-
lifting. We transition
Okay.
to workouts. We go to some circuit stuff for the next couple weeks. Circuit train, more cardio lift to let their bodies take the load off their joints, do more
Yeah,
yoga,
okay.
more stretching, recover. There's
Yeah.
guys, Nate Eads and Nathan Pruitt and Landon Stacy already at basketball practice.
Yeah.
We've got guys, Hutch Howard's already at wrestling.
Yeah, they've
So
moved into other
it's
athletics.
crazy how quick they transition. I'm always like, you guys sure you don't want to take a week off? Like, I think you need to take a week off. But they
To
just,
recover.
They transition fast.
Well, because the
Um,
other coach is like, you didn't get in here.
Yeah, but I think
Yeah, they're right. Yeah, Randy, our producer's right. They're young. They can move into.
yeah,
they're like
gosh,
younger
big
than we
difference,
are.
Man. But
You just worked out. I just taught jazzercise, and we're sitting here going, "Man, I got to catch my breath."
I know I'm
So,
so out of shape. It's been a long season.
They wouldn't be like this. They're like, "Let's go,
Yeah.
bring it on."
No,
And
so
we're
we'll
like,
do that. We'll do that, and then we'll transition into winter workouts, which is our morning workouts, which we have a cycle where we do certain power, speed. We have a cycle we do, and it's worked out pretty well from
Yeah.
this point on. So I don't see, we're always open to changing and looking at research on stuff. And I know my brother is a certified strength and conditioning coach. I've talked about him. Him and I are going to do some USA football or USA track. He's a certified.
Yeah, I was gonna say he needs to help with all the other
and
athletics.
you can't imagine how much I've talked about it. But I'm just
Your
fortunate.
AD's like,
I'm
enough.
fortunate. I'm fortunate that he's in my corner because he knows what he knows.
Yeah,
I got
you're
lucky.
very fortunate.
Whether he's my
yeah.
brother or not, he's really good at
Yeah.
his job. But he's a certified Olympic, USA Olympic strength coach, and he's certified with Olympic lifting. Well, we're going to go get certified in Olympic sprint coaching. We're going to go do that in December. That's something that is important. Is as much speed work as we do. Well, we need to go to the best and make sure we're doing the best there is out there. And so we'll pay and take a weekend class and come out of there certified to be speed coaches. And that's the kind of stuff we have to continue to do to build the program.
Continuing education.
And, I mean, if we're not still
Right.
learning, then we're not getting better. And then the coaches, we started this last winter. This is pretty cool. We do a retreat. My staff took the whole staff last winter. We went to Gatlinburg. One of those huge cabins.
Yeah.
Stayed the whole weekend. I locked the doors. And we eat a lot of food, and we do a lot of football. And we walk out of there with everybody on the same page with the program.
Yeah.
What direction we're going with the team we have. We do that after winter workouts once we've seen our kids and have a feel for our group. And that's fun. I look forward to that. I think the guys look forward to that too.
I think they will.
But I hope this staff is all together next year. Have a great staff. I really like the dynamic of it. My freshman staff is outstanding right now. Those are the guys that tend to be the hardest to keep. I hope they do stick around because I really like them and I like what we have coming up to coach in that freshman group as well.
So the other thing is, I would assume you're probably going to get some more family time, some more date night time.
Yeah, we're in the middle of date night right now. So,
Sorry, Erica. I'm
we
sorry.
went and worked out together.
Oh, there
And,
you go. So that's a bonus.
Yeah, and then.
But she didn't come with you, so sometimes she
No.
comes to your show, some
Yeah,
not
no,
always.
Not tonight. So yeah, I'm gonna rush home. And I just realized because I cook, like I was home after school today.
You cooked.
Which is weird. Yeah, I cook all the time. Not during season. There's like two me's.
Okay,
There's
okay.
there's John during season, which means hi, hello, I love you guys.
And John
then,
Travolta
And then I'm home for
during
like
Halloween.
I'm home for dinner and prayer.
Yeah.
And then bedtime, and then I'm gone in the morning. I'm a morning work guy. I go in, I get up at 5 a.m. and go in and work in the mornings, so I can be home in the evenings.
In the evenings, yes.
And then the weekends, I'm pretty much a ghost on the weekend between mowing the grass and just breaking down
football.
film and watching film and
All
evaluating our
football.
last game. Yeah, it's a pretty long.
On the
weekend.
weekends, what football teams do you like to watch?
I love.
Now that this is over.
Well, that's the hard thing is I haven't watched hardly any football this season until
Right.
now. My Ohio Bobcats, my alma mater, Go Cats.
Okay.
I missed them on Tuesday night last night, though. We played on ESPN last night, Maction.
Most of us were watching Kentucky Duke, but okay.
Yeah, I watch basketball in March maybe. Ohio played last night. I missed that because
Was that like on ESPN 8
I
or
was at a
what?
middle school basketball game at Rockcastle, so that's why I missed that.
Oh, okay.
So priorities.
I'm giving you a hard time.
Went to Monday Night Football Monday night.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I went to Monday Night Football up in Cincinnati. Good
Oh,
buddy.
Bengals.
Good buddy of mine works for the Texans, so was on the sideline, got to watch pregame
Oh, that's
warm-ups.
cool. So you brought them the bad luck, the Bengals.
Met Bob McNair, the owner for the Texans. That was kind of cool.
Oh, no, that is really
Not every day
cool.
you shake a guy's hand, it's worth like $3 billion.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So,
I take back what I said then.
Yeah, so we're getting in football mode still anyway.
Yeah, you are.
So, yeah,
I don't think you ever really come out of it. But, I mean, I'm sure now that Southern has moved in a different direction as far as weekly, practice and getting ready for games, you're going to get to sit and watch some NFL on Sunday.
I'm ready for
and some
Turkey.
college.
I'm ready for Turkey. We'll.
You got to watch Alabama. I mean, of course.
Yeah, we'll watch.
He got some great airtime last Saturday.
Yeah, I heard he played a little bit more last Saturday. So
I'm watching him. I figured if I am, you are.
I'm working. Just trying to get that win. I knew we were playing a good D line. But I went and watched Spencer Stone play 2 weeks ago. He's at Center College now. And got a chance to watch him play, which was cool. I've had a chance to go back and watch a few of the guys play.
You got some at Cumberland's, right, that play?
John Williams is still there.
Yeah.
Actually, Aaron Sloan just this week made the decision to play at Mount St. Joseph.
Oh.
Mount St. Joseph up in Cincinnati, I believe it is. So he's pretty excited, and a couple of our other guys were on college visits. We're going to have some guys that are going to play college
And they
football.
sign in February, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got a group of guys that, if they, I make them really think about it. But if they want to do
it's very different.
We've got some guys that'll go play college ball.
Yeah.
Out of this group.
I think they'll be well prepared, don't you?
This group will.
But
do
it is
well.
very different. I mean, it's not,
It
hey,
is.
coach, I don't feel good today.
You've got to do it because you love it.
Yes.
And that's what they understand. That out of this group, I think we'll have some guys that'll play.
Right.
We'll have some guys. Next year, we'll have quite a few guys that played for us playing.
Yeah.
Right now, Spencer and Damian are about the only two that are currently. Oh, Brett Sipple's playing. Buddy Harrison is playing. Those two are playing at Union. Damien's playing at Alabama. Spencer's playing at Center College, where he just transferred to this year. The rest of the guys are either redshirted or not quite on the field yet. Casey's up at West Point. You know, it's a little harder to get on the field there. He will get on the field at some point.
Yeah.
Not this year, but he will. And then you've got Aaron Sipple and Austin Beetlestone, who are at Lindsey Wilson, and they really like those guys. They feel like they're going to be contributors, and I think they're guys that'll be on the field next year. So.
Yeah. Speaking of Sybil, you're going to have to find you another kicker.
Yeah, I'll worry about that next August.
You got any girls in the works, or are you just
next August? I actually have had a lot of people ask me about kicking.
Yeah.
So we'll figure it out.
Gosh, I hope so, because that'd be a lot of fun to watch. It was fun to watch.
We'll
so
figure it out.
Loved it.
We'll figure it out.
Everybody'd go, here she comes, everybody watch, you know. Not that they weren't watching before, but it was like, okay, now
She good this
especially a
year.
lot of little girls in the stands that typically watch the cheerleaders, you know.
Yeah.
They're watching
Well,
her kick the ball.
We'll figure out something. I didn't
You'll figure
know who
out
was going to kick
something.
for us August 1st, but we figured it out. So
And I think she did. She only missed one all season.
she was awesome. She did really good. She did really
It's
good
unbelievable,
this year.
and I don't
think
think
she
it
ended
was
up with
really her
over-
fault,
She ended up
so.
with over 30-some points this year. I mean, that's 30 points we wouldn't have had. That's a big difference.
That is a big difference.
It's a big difference.
What else do we need to talk about, Coach? Because I always let you have the last word. I don't want to miss anybody. I don't want to miss any of your
You know,
sponsors.
stay tuned. You know, we're not done. You know, we have a plan in place, and I feel really good about the direction we're headed. You know, I think there's good things ahead for our program. There's really good things on the horizon. The middle school programs are improving. They're starting to get on our page. I just feel like the youth league is slowly developing. I just
Yeah.
feel like there's some things coming down the pipe that this place could be very different here soon.
Yeah, because we interviewed Mr. Knuckles, Coach Knuckles, and I think, you know,
Yeah.
I think you've got his son
Yeah,
playing.
his son plays for me, and you know the Madison County Youth League is up in Richmond. We're not affiliated with them on the
okay.
southern end. They use the Madison County tag, but that's specifically Richmond. We're trying to kind of develop one on the southern end of the county here.
Oh, see, I
There-
thought it was all one
no,
big,
it's not.
countywide.
There used to be a Berea Youth League, which has kind
Oh.
of dissolved
Okay, see, I
over
didn't know
the
that.
last few years when the program was bad. There were periods where the Berea Youth League had been outstanding before I was here. And then when I got here, it was kind of a mess. And so tried to help. We talked about that in the show. I think kind of went hands off for a while to see what they
Yeah.
do. And we've kind of rebuilt it from our own angle. They practice at Southern. They're called the War Eagles right now. It's USA football certified, so they do the heads-up tackling. We have a flag league now, K through 2. There were 4 teams in flag this year.
Oh.
Kids loved it.
Yeah.
You know, they're the Packers and the Niners, and they're wearing their little NFL USA football
Yeah.
jerseys. So our numbers. We're starting with the little kids.
Yeah.
And we're growing them up.
You got to recognize them maybe at halftime, some
Yeah,
of your games.
and
to
that's
get
something
them-
that's something we
get
will
them
do next
income
year. We didn't do that this
to
year
the
just
game.
because at the time I didn't know how it was going to go. We hadn't done it yet.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and now we know moving forward.
them
Our
into
numbers
the
our numbers
game,
are growing.
see this-
You know, right now our youth league has to travel because
Right.
there's not been enough kids staying here still. They're still unsure, so they're still going to Richmond. Once all the kids stay here, we've got a solid deal, and we're going to have an in-house youth league down here as well. And I really like the idea of it being associated to where you've got teams here, you've got teams in Richmond, and you play each other, and you play back at your place, and you play. So if there's 3 teams down here and there's 5 teams up there, there's games at both places, and it's all affiliated with tournaments at the end. It just builds football in the county. It doesn't have to be completely
separate. Yeah.
but I am pretty adamant I don't want to put little kids in helmets.
Okay.
You know, I've done the research. You know, at kindergarten through 2nd grade, they need to be playing flag football.
I
and
agree.
And that was something that wasn't real popular when I got here. The young kids were in helmets, and I said I'm not going to be a part of this with 1st graders and kindergartners in helmets. It's not-
Speaking of that, how is Goodlow? I know
Oh,
he took
he's
took a
good.
hit right before halftime.
Yeah, he's good. He's really good. We kept an eye on him. You know, we held him
No
precautiously.
concussion or any.
No, he was symptom free on Saturday, but man, he took a shot, didn't he?
He did. We
You
could
know?
hear it.
Oh wow. He took a shot.
It was tough
So I was
to
a little
hear.
worried about him, and I checked in on him Saturday.
He
was good.
he tried to shake it off.
He's been
and-
good this week. He was good on Saturday. AJ's knee. AJ got bumped on the knee.
Yes.
His knee healed up. Skid's sore. Skidmore's shoulder was pretty beat up by the end of the game. He's pretty
Yeah.
sore, but he's got time to heal and in that regard as well. So.
That's good. Well, Coach, it's been a great season.
Thank
and we
you.
thank you for letting us be a part of it, and we thank you for doing your coaches show, taking time away from practice, home life, scouting,
It's been fun though.
all the above. So
And it's been
many
a good
more.
it's been a good year, and we're excited to see what's next.
Absolutely, we are too.
So
It's always fun.
it's gonna be a fun. It's gonna be
You
a
make it fun.
off-season.
If you make it fun for us, I'm sure you make it fun for our viewers. So
Come out and watch us this spring game. Spring game will be in the spring.
we'll be
Come
in
out to the spring game.
Sounds good.
So-
We did no bank jokes tonight, so that's a nice way to end the season.
Yeah, we kind of robbed this place of any jokes. on
You
the
got
end,
it in
didn't we?
there. Speaking of, we want to thank Cumberland Valley National Bank. They're your official sponsor for Coach Clark's Coaches Show. We really appreciate it. We shot our last show out on the football field because I did not call them to have them open the doors for us. But we did give them a shout out
We were
while
kind
we
of
were
bankrupt last week.
We were a little bankrupt last week, so we had to do it under the lights, but it was a nice little change, and
It was good.
we did. They were our still official sponsor, even though we weren't in the bank, so we gave them plenty of shout outs. So, but we do want to officially thank them because it's been great staying nice and dry. Cause
And I like
we're-
not having to drive 30 minutes to do the coach's show, so thank you guys.
Now that is true. That is true. That is nice. It's right next door, so that you can come straight over from practice.
It's been good.
It has been good. All right. On behalf of all of us at MadisonCountySchoolSports.com, thank you for watching, and until next spring. But make sure you watch basketball because we're going to start those shows soon.
Check out our track team.
And wrestling, girls basketball. All of it.
Thanks to our great sponsors, Jack Burford Chevrolet in Richmond, Jerry Goble and State Farm Insurance, Richmond, Express Roofing, we've got you covered, expressroofing.net, Cumberland Valley National Bank in Richmond and Berea, Luxury Pet Services in Richmond, Time Warner Cable, Equipment Sales and Rentals, Madison County Schools, Tatum Enterprises, and Real Life Community Church, myrealchurch.org. We want to be sure and thank our fine sponsors, Berea Online, First Gear, WKYT.com, and the Colonel Sports Card Shop. A shout out to another great sponsor, Journey Auto and Boat Sales in Richmond. And welcome to another great sponsor, Kentucky Farm Bureau Insurance, Chris Hornsby in Highland Park.
Hello everyone, I'm Madison County Schools Superintendent Elmer Thomas, and I want to thank you for watching Madison County School Sports Television.
Follow Madison County School Sports Television on Twitter, or like us on Facebook, MCS TV, and of course, watch all of our videos on YouTube.
Hey everyone, my name's Alex, and I want you to watch MadisonCountySchoolSports.com.
The following is in smokeless tobacco: cadmium, formaldehyde, lead, nicotine, nitrosamines, polonium-210, hydrazine, benzopyrene, and uranium-235. Don't be a dip. Don't dip.